Hey guys, Johnny here, and I am back from a busy trip to Germany. And as always, whenever I travel abroad, I call it tool tourism. I can't help but go to the tool shops to see what have they got that we don't have here in the UK. Are there any new tools, new innovations, quirky, unusual tools? And I've never missed. I always find something interesting, something new, new brands, new innovations. It's not a top 10, it's a top 15 quirky, innovative German tools, and this trip was probably my biggest yet. Coming up this week, I review the tool that broke the internet. That is a little beauty. That is probably one of my favourite pickups ever. I check out Germany's most underrated tool brand. Perfect, every time. Morakniv, never fails. And it wouldn't be a tool hunt without a mystery tool unboxing. Wow. that is awesome. Let's get into it. So a quick word from our sponsor, Metmo. They've sent me one of their amazing precision tools that I've not seen before, and that is the Metmo Grip. This is made out of stainless steel, and it is a very satisfying design, this, and that is Metmo's speciality. They bring classic vintage designs into the 21st century. So this is Metmo's take on an adjustable spanner. So opposed to your classic adjustable spanner where you wind in a wheel, this has a slide-in adjuster where it's just a lot quicker, a lot smoother, and definitely more satisfying. It really appeals to the engineer in me in this. Very satisfying, very high quality, and it's not just a clamp or an adjustable spanner. You've also got a 1/4" bit holder down here, which is very handy. Always handy to have a 1/4" bit holder. Every screwdriver bit, even some drill bits, impact bits will go in a 1/4" bit holder here, and then you've got loads of torque because it's like 6 inches long, this thing. It's also got a belt loop on it. It can be used as a hammer. Not that I would use it as a hammer, it's a bit too nice for that, but they've got it in their spec sheet that you could use it as a hammer, you can use it as a box opener, you can use it as a bottle opener, which is always a bonus. But it is a thing of beauty, like all things from Metmo, British brand, British products, and vintage designs that are just very, very satisfying. So if you like the look of the Metmo Grip, I'll put a link in the description to this product, and I'll put a link to a few of my favorites. There are some amazing. The pen is very satisfying with the 2 brass nuts that go flying down it, and the pocket driver is also a personal favorite. And a big thank you, as always, to Metmo for sponsoring the video, and it kicks us off nicely with a British product. But let's go from the British product to my top 15 weird, innovative, and cool German tools, starting with number 15. So number 15 on the list is a unusual silicone gun. This is the Clickpump by Brosio. This was like a JML style end aisle. It had a little bit of a screen demonstrating it. It wasn't very expensive. I think it was about 12 euros or something. So call it a tenner. That's a normal silicone gun. This is the Clickpump. You can see it is a bit smaller, but obviously when you pull the bar out, that's kind of the equivalent size. This kind of grips the tube from the back and then pushes the plunger up inside the tube, rather than this, which is basically holding the tube and then pushing the plunger in. It's not gripping it. So interesting if it works. I mean, my experience with these has been varied because I've tried different sorts of silicone guns in the past that aren't the classic. I mean, you can pick these up for a couple of quid and they're tried and tested. You know they're going to work, but let's give this a go. Let's find out. So I've got a standard tube of silicone. On a normal silicone gun, you press the back. You obviously use the trigger to push it forward. You can press the button on the back and then you can move it forward. It just speeds things up. And then if you want to pull the tube out, you just press that, pull that back. With this, you have to kind of like reverse it. There's no quick way to pull it back. So that isn't ideal, but it is a bit of a space saver. That's the kind of gimmick really. It takes up a lot less space. So let's give it a go. Push the standard tube in there. I mean, already we're kind of at a similar, we're not much of a space saving, but one advantage this would give you is that if you really were in a tight gap, you could use half of it up, cut the tube down, and then basically put a small tube on the end. Let's give it a go. Does it work? Well, it's locked the tube in place. It's not slipping, it's not moving, and it doesn't seem like the silly gun where it's holding it with that sandpaper, which is going to wear out. That's pretty good. I mean, it's relatively cheap mold. It doesn't feel solid, but it is working as you'd expect. Okay, so the first problem I found, I've used half of the tube up and it's not that easy to get it out. There you go, it's come out in the end. But the first advantage that kind of jumps out at me is with a full tube in, it's not much shorter than a normal silicone gun, but this would be able to take cut down tubes. Right, so I've chopped the tube down and it would go in a traditional silicone gun, but it wouldn't save you any space. You've still got the full size, whereas in this, that can be held in there. You've reduced the size a good amount. You know, you're still not tiny. It doesn't beat the Ox silicone gun, which is compact, which I think it was on the Facebook tools video where Richard, who I bought the tools off, showed me that. And this piece here, which is adding all the length, kind of collapses down inside the silicone gun. But that's a lot more expensive, to be fair. But you can see we've got enough of a space saving there to make it innovative, to make it genuinely a functional tool. Well, I thought it was hard to get the tube out, but actually I was doing it wrong. So essentially, when you've got this piston inside the tube, it's locked on and you cannot get the tube off. I just about managed it earlier and obviously could have probably broken it. But if you reverse the piston all the way to the back, that final push kind of pulls all the springs in and then it just comes out dead easy. So clever little device that is. Once it's in there, it's really solid. It is not going anywhere. And then to get the next tube out, you just have to go all the way to the back, which you're gonna do anyway, because it needs to be all the way back for a fresh tube. Better than I expected. That was the only drawback. That was my only reservation. And I can remove that reservation now. Consider it removed. So that's number 15, the Click Pump from Brosio. Totally new brand on me, that one, but a pretty cool product. Let me show you number 14. Number 14 is definitely quirky, battery operated insect catcher. This was from Obi, bit of an impulse buy, last second at the tills, couldn't resist. Definitely something I'd not seen in B&Q, not in a UK hardware store. And essentially it's a little hoover, I guess, with a clear tube, so you can see that you've successfully caught the spider. There is a picture on the box of a big old spider. Well, it's got a very weak LED shining in the area, and if that's not enough to scare your spider off, the noise of it, that's gonna send the spider running. Well, I've got a little bit of a bent up stick here. I'd say that's equivalent size and weight to a little spider. Let's see how it goes. Well, it does the job, and I could let it free miles from the house as well, which is the most important thing. I'm the designated spider catcher in my house, but maybe this is good for the missus or the kids to get them involved. Pretty cool little thing, just takes a 9-volt battery, but there you go. It kind of works. I'd have to try it on a spider, but works on a stick. That's number 14. Let me show you number 13. Number 13 is a pair of knives, one from Sweden and one from the Czech Republic. And they were both bargains, to be fair. I'll start with the Morakniv, because I've got a couple of these now, and it never fails to surprise me how good and how cost effective these are. They're a very cheap knife. This is the hornback one. I think it was €8, so like £7, and a super high quality, made in Sweden. Holds a really nice edge. This one is fresh out of the box. And the classic test to show you, this is out of the box from hornback. And that's what you want, perfect, every time. Morakniv never fails to do that. So that is a Morakniv to the collection, and if you watched last week's video, this was actually the giveaway from that, so you can go and watch last week's video again, where I was going around the stores finding these things, and that is the giveaway for last week's video. That is my one for the collection. And one knife I didn't show you was Mikov Rybika. Probably butchering that. Made in Czech Republic. The thing I like about this is, firstly, it's a fish. And also, it is UK legal because it is not a lock-in knife. It's small, very short blade, and this would be something you could have as a bit of an everyday carry to open boxes. You can't really get away with much more than that in the UK, unless you're a tradesman, like this knife as a tradesman, or if you're out in the outdoors, that would be okay. But this is a handy little knife to open boxes and stuff. Really nice, high quality, compact little non-locking knife from Mikov. Not many tools that I know of made in Czech Republic, other than Vera tools made in Czech Republic. But a little Mikov knife to add to the collection is pretty cool. And as always, I do like to get all of my pickups organised, and this video is no different. I did actually pick up, look at this beast. Believe it or not, this toolbox here integrates with the Magnuson system, the Bauer Connects, the JCB Sight system, the Rigid Pro Gear system, and those boxes in Germany are sold in Hornbach under the industrial brand, and they have this little beauty, which again will connect with the JCB. I did a full video about that system. You can go and watch that on my second channel, What Toolbox, if you're interested. But this is a new box to go to the collection, one that I've not looked at before, and essentially you can click all the other boxes on top. You've got a pull-out handle, pull this along behind you, with a whole stack of toolboxes if you want on the top, which might look a bit mental, but maybe a couple of organisers on the top would be quite cool. As you'd expect, first thing I do when I get a new toolbox back to the workshop is map it out for a shadow foam insert. So we've got shadow foam inserts that fit perfectly in this box. They slot straight in, and we have them in all the different sizes and 9 different colours. So what I'll do is I'll put the 50mm one there, and as I go through, I will put a bit of a layout together. So I don't know if I'll include the silly gun, but that is number 13. Let me show you number 12. Number Number 12 on the list is another knife, but an unusual knife. This is from Globus Baumarkt. It's the Primaster, and it doesn't look too unusual. So you've got a top slider, but you've also got a side slider. So in the packet, I thought that has definitely got to be interesting, but this thing delivers on another level as well. The whole thing's in German, so I couldn't actually tell what was special, but I knew there was something. So I didn't know quite what to expect with this, but I can tell you now, this is a top knife. We've got a spring return function. So if you use this top one here, you can open a box, let go, and the knife goes back, so it's a safety knife. If you use the side slider, it's then fixed in position, so it's a fixed knife, and you've got a little orange tab here to change the blade, a nice quick blade change. And then on the back, we've got a retracting screwdriver that rotates. So you've got two bits, flathead, and then a Phillips, and that retracts inside the body so it's out of the way. And just to top it all off, we've got a quite satisfying blade storage compartment that pops up as well. So a bit of a beaut that is, and this is the house brand from Globus, Primaster. So again, it wasn't very expensive. I think it was about €10, something in the region of about £7 or £8. Definitely quirky and definitely a really cool little addition to my knife collection. And I did pick up 5 extra because I thought that is a perfect little giveaway item. And if you want to be in the mixer for the giveaway, as always, we keep it dead simple. There's a lot of scams on YouTube, there's a lot of fake giveaways, so we keep it as simple as possible. And all you've got to do is subscribe to the channel and make sure you drop a comment down below. And if you do those things, we pick the winners over on the Shadow Foam channel. I'll put a link up here, and we do the prize draws over there, draw out the comments, and then we get in touch with all the winners. So make sure you get involved, and it doesn't quite stop there as well. I've got a couple more items to add to that pile. So that is number 12, cool little knife from Primaster. Let me show you number 11. Number 11 is a tool from Rothenberger. Now, I'm always looking to improve my compact tool kit. That is a bit of a labour of love. I'm always updating it and upgrading it, and essentially, if you don't know what that is, the most comprehensive and compact toolkit that I always have with me. It's a labour of love. I've been working on it for many years. I think I'm on version 4 or 5, but I'm always upgrading it and thinking about ways that I can cram more options into there. I saw these, and essentially they are small little compact soldering irons. This one's called a pencil torch. This one's called a gas soldering iron set, but essentially they're both little mini torches. And I couldn't decide between them, so I thought I'll pick them both up and have a look if they're an upgrade from the Weller gas soldering iron that is in my current compact toolkit. But I will put a link up there to the latest compact toolkit video, and I think I am due an upgrade. I've got a few really good improvements that I've made to that kit in the last year, and I will be doing an updated version. Let me know if you like the sound of that. I'm not entirely sure of the difference. I mean, one of them has got 3 extra tips that can screw on the end, so you can have it as a soldering iron, you can have it as like a hot carving tool. And the one thing I can see already is they don't have an ignition, so neither of them have a battery, which can be a good thing. The batteries do die out. My Weller one's got a battery and it's not died yet. Having the ignition means you can just press one button and it lights and you've got heat and it starts going, and that runs on butane. With this one though, I'm gonna have to try and light it. So I've got the old Hacksmith Mini Saber. There we go, that one's running, but I've got a flame coming out the side. Let me see if I turn the gas down a bit. That's pretty crazy. So we've got a flame coming out the side of that one. It lit pretty simply though. There is a little bit of a holder. So that one's going hot. And then this one. Right, okay, I don't think they're going in my compact toolkit. Well, if I just take the tip off, let's see if I can get it going like that actually. I'd say that is tricky. That is very, very hard to get going. I can't get it lit properly with the tip on. There you go, so it's lit there. Oh my goodness. I don't know if I've got a faulty one, but that has murdered it. So there we go, I've got that one lit, but then how the heck do I get the soldering iron on? Oh, that is hopeless. Well, I think I'm gonna stick with my Weller one, and then this one burned out quite quickly, so. They're very space saving, I'll give them that. I mean, look at the size difference of that. And essentially having a gas soldering iron, a micro gas soldering iron, is very, very handy, especially if you're doing repairs, you're out on site, you're in a car, anywhere where you don't have a socket handy. Gas soldering iron is a very good option. A little Weller one I've had for quite a fair few years now has been a bit of a lifesaver in multiple occasions. So I was looking for an upgrade. I think that might be a bit of a miss, but maybe I'm running them wrong. Let me know if you got a Rothenberger micro pen or a Rothenberger row pen. So here is my compact toolkit. I went and got it out the van. It is absolutely stuffed with tools, this, and I do think this is obviously the best version I've made yet, even though I said I've got a couple of upgrades. This is the Weller gas soldering iron that I've been using for the past few years. It's the WP3 EU, and this one, it is a little bit chunkier than the Rothenberger one, but it's got an ignition on it. I don't need to have a lighter with it. So I think I'll stick with the Weller for now, and I'll put a link for this down in the description, along with the links for all the other tools that I can find in this video. So if there's anything catches your eye, it should be easy to find one and grab one yourself. But those two, they are pretty interesting. I'll put them on there. That's the compact toolkit. That is number 11 on the list, and we're into the top 10. Let me show you number 10. Number 10 on the list is our first tool, which is actually from Wuppertal. So this is a Picard Hammer. It's their sub-brand, Ruthie. This is their slightly more budget range of tools. That being said, it's still an expensive, top quality hammer. But this one is a roofer's hammer, and you've got like this extended spike on the back. That is for knocking holes through slates. Then you can put a nail through it. Rather than putting a nail straight through the tile and then splitting the tile in half. It's also got a milled face, and it's got a magnet in the top, so you can actually put a nail on the top, it'll hold in place, and then you can knock it in. And it's definitely an item that was on my list to buy in the tool capital of Germany, because Picard is one of the factories I visited when we did the documentary about Wuppertal. And out of all the hammers I've got, this is definitely the most unusual. Don't have a roofer's hammer with a spike on the back. But that is number 10. Let me show you number 9. Number 9 is another twofer. I've got two items here. They're the same, but different. The first one I found was a Matador version, and Matador is another Wuppertal brand. I actually visited the Matador factory as well as part of the Wuppertal tool documentary. And this is a precision 4-in-1 screwdriver. And I thought, because it was in a packet, I thought it was an aluminium version. I've had one of these before. Always found it very, very useful to have on me as part of like an EDC toolkit, compact toolkit. And essentially you have a pen-sized screwdriver. I thought it was aluminium. I thought it was going to be more solid, but it's actually plastic and quite light. Although the packaging is bang on. It looked really, really good in there. It looked metal. And essentially you have a screwdriver bit with two ends. You can flip it over. You have 4 screwdrivers. Very good in a pinch, no bigger than a pen. And that's what I picked up from Hornbach. But when I was in KS Tools, they had this version, which is more heavy duty. It's got a rubber band on it, it feels heavier, and it's much the same with a 1/4-inch bit, but these ones are chrome, so they won't rust. And that's a slightly larger Phillips flathead, and then a smaller Phillips and flathead. I've not heard of the brand, Hengjia, but this one definitely feels a bit heftier and a little bit sturdier than the Matador version, which is why, even though I'd already bought the Matador one, sometimes this is the problem when you visit multiple tool shops. You find a better version in the very next shop. But I'm sure I'll find a use for the Matador one. That could go in some other little EDC pocket pouch or something. But this one will go in my compact toolkit, I'm sure. And I did pick up 5 extra. So giveaway bundle is rounding out nicely. We've got a very clever knife and a very clever German 4-in-1 precision screwdriver pen, which I think, again, great addition to any toolkit. That very handy to have, because it's the perfect size for not just glasses, but also whenever your kid wants batteries putting in a toy, they always need a tiny little screwdriver, and this is that one. So it would be definitely handy to have 2 of those. But yeah, that is number 9. Let me show you number 8. Number 8 on the list is 2 very unusual spanners from RS Tools. One of them is the KS Tools brand, which is like the house brand from that shop. And then the other one is Powerhand. Basically 2 slightly different versions of a similar thing. This is a star spanner, 12-point spanner, which goes over the top of a nut and then clamps over the top of it. Essentially, if it's a nut on a stud, and you can't get a spanner onto it because it's on a bar, you could essentially clip that over it. Or if it's very awkward to get to, if it's a nut or a bolt that's right up against something, you can go over the top of it and then catch onto it. Something I've never seen before. Very, very interesting. I didn't buy any other sizes of this because I don't think I'll ever use it, but I definitely wanted to pick it up and show you guys. I thought it was a very unusual spanner. And then this one is 8mm and 9mm, and it's very similar in nature. It kind of hooks over the top of a nut. This one's flexible too. You can see it's a flexi head on both sides. I think that in a 10mm and an 8mm would be very handy, or a 10 and a 13. 8 and 9, not so much, but very, very unusual spanners. And talking of unusual spanners, it didn't quite stop there, because they probably had the most unusual spanner I've ever seen, and that is this beauty of a Blackhawk. Now, I didn't put the Blackhawk down. I actually negotiated a deal on this. He didn't want to sell it. And right when I was buying all the stuff, I was spending a few £100. I said, what are the chances on that? Definitely one of the quirkiest tools I've ever seen, and I didn't want to leave that shop without it. So I pushed him, thinking he was going to say a really high price. I'm not sure what my limit would have been, to be fair, but he said 20 euros. I was like, and I bit his hand off. 20 euros, absolute bargain. This will have been bent into this shape and then chromed, because the chrome is absolutely perfect all the way around. It says reverse gear, lovely quality, 19mm. That's going to get into some right little good nooks and crannies, that, innit? Or it's going to sit nicely on my shelf. But that is a little beauty. That is probably one of my favourite pickups ever. Now, I didn't put it higher in the list because it's this is more form over function. It doesn't stop it being one of my favourite pickups from this Germany tool tour. And I've got a mystery box from RS Tools, which I'm going to be saving to the end. Let me know what you think of that. But that is number 8. Let me show you number 7. So number 7 on the list is a couple of house brand tools from Obi, and their house brand is Lux Tools. I picked up 2 items from there, well 3 actually, but I'll start with the first 2, and that is a folding knife like no other. This thing is a folding utility knife, which looks totally different. That's why it caught my eye. And obviously in the packet, I couldn't tell entirely what it was doing, but essentially you press this button and you can lock it into 3 different positions. 1, 2, and 3. I think the most useful is having it as a bit of a hook utility blade for cutting. You can see here they've got someone cutting denim on a table or cutting flooring, substrates, foam. I think that could be quite interesting, especially if you put a hook blade in there. Obviously you can get different types of utility blade. If I show you one, Exhibit A, this is my Bessie knife from Germany. And if you flick this over to one of their little hook blades, I think this is a bit of a winner actually. Great idea. You'd be able to drag that without marring up the surface and then cut some material. So I thought that was quite interesting from Lux. They always have some pretty cool things. One of my favourite things from Lux, to be fair, I knew I'd find it. It's in my most quirky tools drawer, is this little badger. This is Lux Obi. I think I got this from Sweden. Always worth getting this out for any opportunity. It's like a strip of 1/4-inch bits that go into a belt holster. So Lux always have some good stuff, and they didn't quite stop there because they also had this 7-in-1 tactical pen, and this thing is aluminium, not like Matador where it looked aluminium but it's plastic. This is a solid metal pen with a couple of different features. You've got kind of a point on the end for breaking glass, a bit of a defense thing, and then you've got a pen. So it is a standard pen. I was hoping it attaches on the top, and it does. So it is a pen. That's quite good. And then the main feature that makes it 7-in-1 is on this end down here. You've got a bottle opener, saw, screwdriver, and then a little hex wrench. So that's a whole bunch of functionality, plus the spike. And on the very end here, you've got an LED torch. But the batteries must be somewhat special because none of the standard watch batteries I had fitted it. Quite good, and it's well made. It feels very compact and well made for a 7-in-1 tool, and the Lux brand is a very nice budget brand. And I'm not quite finished with Lux because I was also able to pick up the Lux house brand Zollstock. This is the first of a few Zollstocks I'll be adding to my collection, and this, if you didn't know, it's a 2-meter folding Zollstock. I've been collecting these now for 3 years, and essentially I always look for ones that are 2 meters with a new tool brand on them. So I've got Lux tools to add to the collection. It doesn't stop there because I also swapped a bum bag for a Spitz brand Zollstock at Eisenhower Messe. That was the German tool show. And I'm not quite finished because I managed to pick up a Zollstock from Globus Baumarkt, which is the big hardware store in Germany that I picked up the Primaster knife from, which was pretty cool. And I've got another one as well because in Hornbach they had this brand, Maurerlob Tools. They make different tape measures and measuring tools. And I actually already had this one, but in yellow and white. So I double checked my pictures of my list. I never had the little thin birch version. And at the same time, I was able to pick up the Work Zone Aldi Zollstock. And I had a lot of messages from fans of the channel, subscribers, who let me know that this was in stores. And I was able to head down and pick one up. So if you have any pictures of Shadow Foam or your favourite tools to share, make sure you go and follow me on Instagram. I've always had a Shadow Foam Instagram account, which I will link as well, so you can follow Shadow Foam. That's got loads of pictures and inspiration about getting your tools organised. But I now have a personal Instagram, John Ashone, which will be sharing clips of tool tourism, travelling the world, looking for interesting tools and updates and behind the scenes on the Zollstock collection. So make sure you go and follow me, John Ashone on Instagram. And the last one, the pièce de resistance, and my favourite one, I bought 6 of, a Bauhaus Zollstock. And Bauhaus is the only hardware store brand that has the location printed on the back. And I've never been to the Bauhaus in Wuppertal, and they did have a Wuppertal printed Zollstock. So that is a personal favourite. I've got one of these from Barcelona, I've got one of these from Cologne, and now I've got one from Wuppertal. And I got 5 extra to round out our giveaway. So you'll get a quirky knife, a Zollstock from Wuppertal, and the 4-in-1 pencil. So that is a heck of a bundle, I would say. 6 more Zollstocks to add to my collection, and that takes us nicely to item number 6. Number Number 6 on the list is a product from Laserliner. Now this is a favourite brand of mine that I only ever find in Germany. I've had a multimeter from them, I've had a volt stick from them, I've even had a look at their pocket laser. But this is their MultiFinder Plus. It's basically a stud finder. They not just find studs, it also finds cables, metal studs as well. And I thought definitely worth a look. Now they had a few different models of this in the store, but this one is the multi-detector that can detect a lot of stuff. It's accurate, but it's quite fast. You don't have to be labouring across a wall. You can go quite quickly and it will beep on the stud. And the beauty of it is, the wall I was checking, I can see the screw heads and I know it's hitting the stud every time. So let me show you. There's the screw, bang on. So I can see the screw head there, so I know that's a stud. Usually you wouldn't see the screw heads, but this is a workshop, so it doesn't really matter. You go across, and it's beeping there, across the width of the stud. But if I go quite fast, it's seeing it. Beep. And I've had a few of these before, and then you get a lot of false triggers, it's quite hard, you have to go really slow, and you're never quite sure. But here is a whole cavity, and it's not beeping. Stud, got it. Stud, got it. So that's quite nice, and then if you want to check for cables, you just change the mode, put it on AC, calibrate it, so it's seeing that it's on the wall, and then I know there's no cables anywhere here. But on here, where I know there is a cable coming down to that light switch, it's seeing it. So that's number 6, pretty cool addition to my toolkit, and much better than the Bosch one that I've had before. Let me show you number 5. Number 5 on the list is a couple more unusual spanners, but these came from Hornbach. And again, it's a new brand, WGB, and they were a very helpful brand because they had this lovely little tag on all of their new products. So all 3 of these were new products in the aisle, and they all offer something different. I'm going to start with the adjustable. I've seen a lot of different adjustables, a lot of interesting ones. UK has invented and developed some fantastic adjustable spanners over the years. I would say we are the leaders in adjustable spanners over here. The Germans actually call this an Englisher because of how well the English have promoted and developed the adjustable spanner. But this is a German quirky adjustable spanner with a wheel on it here. They had a little test ring in the store. But essentially, this is a ratcheting adjustable spanner, and it will roll on the nut, so then you can give it another turn, it'll roll back, give it another turn, roll back. Nice comfortable grip on it. It's like a satin chrome finish, but that is a spring-loaded wheel, very unusual, and it opens out to about 28 mil. So quite a narrow adjustable, to be fair, for an 8-inch adjustable. You know, a backer would open up to about 34, 35 mil, something like that, but quite an unusual feature I've not seen before. So I wanted to pick that up to show you, but I think these two could be quite a good addition to a toolkit. These 2 spanners basically replace up to 56. They say 28 in one, and I'll explain why, but they replace up to 56 spanners. Why is that? Well, they are a 12-point spanner, but they have a unique design that will take metric imperial, spline, and Torx, E-Torx, and we've got 11 mil, 8 mil, 30 mil, and 10 on that, and then we've got a 14, 17, 19, and 16. Essentially, with these two, I mean, dog bone spanners aren't that unusual, but having this squared off 12-point arrangement that'll take different imperial sizes, Torx sizes, and splines, I think makes these a next level. So those two in a compact toolkit are going to give you essentially a full set of spanners from 8 mil up to 19 mil, including Torx sizes, spline sizes, and imperial. So I think those partner up nicely with potentially an adjustable, and you've got a really great set of spanners there. WGB, new brand, new German brand. Have you heard of them? Because they did have a whole section of stuff. So that is my number 5 pick. Let me show you number 4. Number 4 is a very cool pickup from KS Tools. Now, it probably could have been number 1 had I not seen this before, but I haven't got a 3/8 version, and I thought this was a definite pickup for me. This is a 3/8 magic socket wrench. Essentially, whichever way you twist this handle, you can see we're driving the socket clockwise, you twist the back here, and then it'll go anti-clockwise. And obviously, that in itself is a very unique function, but the idea that whichever way you turn it, it will keep going the same direction. And obviously it's Facom quality, so it's a very fine tooth ratchet, super high quality, And the one that I already had was a much cheaper and smaller version. This is a 1/4" bit driver version. So you just put a standard 1/4" bit in there. Very good for getting to really tight, awkward spaces. But having a socket version, I think, was a great addition to the Facom tool set, the Facom tool drawer. A lovely bit of Facom, made in France, French-made quality. I do love Facom tools. So that is number 4, and we are into the top 3, the best 3 tools, the most innovative, interesting, quirky tools from Germany. Let me show you number 3. Number 3 is another improvement to my socket drawer. 3 items, all from KS Tools. I'll start with the small socket wrench. This is a 3/8 socket driver. So firstly, it's got a rotating head, very similar to a Wera Cyclops, which is another great tool. So you can see it's got that same kind of style head. This is obviously a 3/8 version. It has got a socket lock on it, so if you don't know what that is, essentially if I put a socket on here, it'll lock in place until I press the button on the back, which will then free the socket, which is a very handy feature. Again, same as the Colossus. But the thing that really caught my eye about this, are you ready for its party trick? Just looks like a standard 3/8 driver with like a split head, but it turns into a T-handle. That is metal, it looks plastic, but it's actually a solid metal handle, which rotates to give you a nice compact little socket driver, but then you can turn it into a T-handle as well, which I thought was pretty exceptional, pretty interesting, never seen that before. And I also picked up their 1/4" version. This has got the same rotating head, but we've also got another swivel joint here, and then we've also got the T-handle shape as well. So again, quite a cool little item to have in your toolkit for really super awkward spots. I mean, that is getting you around some corners. So they are 2 pretty cool things. And it doesn't quite stop there, because the last KS tool that I found was this. This really did catch my eye as well. Relatively simple, but just really well made. Lovely red anodized deburrer tool. You've got an internal deburrer and an external deburrer all built into this one nice little piece. It's not hugely innovative. I'm sure that these have been about, but it's the first time I've seen one in a tool shop. So I thought it was a nice little pickup, handy to have in the toolkit, really well made, and my favorite color. So I had to pick that up as well. And those 3 together make number 3. Let me show you number 2. Number 2 on the list is a very cool product from Wolfcraft. And this is a brand that I've not really looked at a great deal. They do have a lot of products. I do see them a lot in Europe, but this was a bit of a standout to me because it's very inexpensive, but it just looked like a genius little device, a genius little connector for quick clamps. Most people have got speed clamps or quick clamps. Irwin quick clamps are quite a popular one. I've got a couple of these decked on quick clamps. And very handy to have in your workshop. No surprises here on how they work. Essentially, you press the button, they go back. You pull the trigger, they go down. Very similar to that, to a silicone gun in that way. But sometimes you need them to be longer. And you might have a few different sizes if you're like me. I've got quite a few. I think I've got 4 of this size. I've got a couple of smaller ones. But this thing links them together. It'll connect 2 together to make a double long one. Well, how do you do it? Well, on my decked on ones, I just twist this knob. That comes off. I can then put the Wolfcraft connector, you just press that in, slide it in there, and it will take 2 different sizes. And then give it a wiggle, that pops back up, that's now fixed. And then on this side, I'll take this one off. And I believe this will work with most quick clamps. Mine aren't anything special decked on. So you press that button, slide that in there, give it a wiggle around. They're now both fixed in. And I've got a near on 2 meter clamp. And essentially, if I just put it across this, creating a ping pong table here, if I put that across there, it then just works in exactly the same way. And the beauty is I've got a quick clamp on both sides, so I can clamp a really long workpiece. It was only a cheap little product, it wasn't expensive, but look at that, I can pull that really tight. It's a nice solid bit of plastic in the middle with a metal pin holding the 2. So obviously it's showing you using Wolfcraft clamps, but I didn't want to go and buy more clamps. Obviously I put this in my suitcase coming back from Germany, and I assumed it would work with other clamps, and it does. So that is an absolute winner for me. I think that is really clever. So that's number 2. Let me show you number 1. So number 1 is a German brand, German-made product. As soon as I saw this at Europe's biggest tool show and I was given a demonstration, I was very, very impressed. And I was keen to add it to my toolkit because I just think it makes total sense. And what is it? Well, it is the Felo E-Twice. This is a modular VD screwdriver, so similar to a Wera screwdriver set in which you have a handle and you have multiple blades which switch in and out. There are lots of different versions of these nowadays. This has got a few things going for it. The first thing is it's a very high quality electrical screwdriver. You've got slim insulation down flush to the blade, so there's no step here on the insulation on the blade, which makes it much easier to use. Some cheaper versions will have maybe 1/2 mil of plastic which blocks the screwdriver getting into MCB circuit breakers, stuff like that. But then the next feature that is the standout, there is a volt detector built in. So if you put this on a live screw or a live terminal, it will flash and light up on the end. But the demonstrator made a great point. If you're holding a screwdriver, and there are other screwdrivers like this, neon screwdrivers have been around for a long, long time, you're holding the handle, you're not going to see it light up. If I'm tightening a screw, I am not going to see a light in the palm of my hand. So what has this got? Well, this has got a vibration built in. As soon as it touches power, it will buzz the handle twice. And there is no way, even if you're reaching around the back of a cabinet or something and you can't even see, you're gonna feel that little buzz. And it's only small, but it's enough to get your attention. And I think that is what makes this a very, very good product. Because one screwdriver handle with multiple blades, again, it's something that we've seen in my compact toolkit. I've got the Weira set and it's been with me for a long time. But the Felo E-Twice, I think, is taking it up another level and a really, really cool, innovative product. And if you're like me and wondered why the blades of the handles are so much bigger than a Weira, well, I wasn't aware of this until I had a proper look at this kit. This kit came with a little yellow top hat, which clips on the top of the blade and turns it into a classic precision screwdriver. That is a free turning wheel. You've got a lot more handle to grab onto here. You've even got a little rubber grip here to allow you to use this as a screwdriver standalone without the chunky handle. So there is a lot more versatility to the Felo set than any other bladed screwdriver set that I've looked at. So that alone is a big win. But with the handle having that vibration and the volt alert built in is another reason why that's number one. And I will add it to the layout that I've been doing over here. You can see we've got a pretty good layout going. And if you're new around here, you might wonder why I've been doing this. Well, all these tools are sat on a piece of shadow foam, which is multi-layered foam that has been designed to simply cut round the tools, peel back layers, and create perfect tool organizers to organize any toolbox, whether it's a modular toolbox, a Milwaukee Packout, a DeWalt Tough System, any toolbox you've got, including big old roll cabs like I've got behind me, or big old shadow boards like you can see here. All of these displays are made out of shadow foam. You'd be looking at £25 for a 50mm sheet of foam like this, in whatever colour you choose out of 9 colours, and you can cut around the tools, peel back layers, and create your very own bespoke tool organisers. And I'm going to do that right now with all of my top picks from Germany. And after I've done that, there is one more surprise to show you. I found this box, which looks very nice, and the guy in the shop alluded to this being something very special from KS Tools. KS Tools branded, it's still sealed. I had to resist the urge of opening it. But after I've cut all the tools in, got all my tools organised, this will be a bit of a dopamine hit at the end. Bit of a cherry on the cake to get me through cutting all the foam. So shadow foam is a product I invented 14 years ago when I was working as an engineer. So that's my background, electrical engineer, fixing machines, and that is where shadow foam came from. So not only does it allow you to see instantly when something's missing, but it also helps you find stuff really quickly. When you open a drawer, everything stays exactly where you left it. But I'm not just going to tell you, I'm going to show you. I'm going to cut all of these tools in. It won't take long. Let's get into it. So there we have it, that is all of the tools cut into the foam insert with some finger pulls as well to make items nice and easy to get in and out, and that took me 20 minutes. So if you want to get your tools organised, super organised, with the ultimate tool organiser shadow foam, you can pick up inserts in 9 colours for any toolbox at shadowfoam.com. We also have a few new sizes. So we've always had standard sheet sizes, but we've just added to the website a large size, 1200 by 600, and a smaller option as well. It's never been more affordable to get big old panels on the walls like the ones behind me as well. But that is all of the shadow foam cut, that is all the tools organised, which leads me to what is in this box, the KS Tools mystery box. Now, I've got a few guesses of my own. I'm hoping for a multi-tool. That would be quite cool. I feel like that would be the kind of an obvious pick, a multi-tool to go in here. But let's have a look what's in here. Wow. that is awesome. Fair play, not just one multi-tool. I got 5 tools there, a full set of cutlery with a spanner on the end of each one. that is pretty mad. KS Tools engraved on each one. We've got teaspoon, big spoon, little spoon. Too many bits of cutlery that is, to be fair. I only need a knife and a fork and a spoon, but there we go. Got a little, what's that one for? I'm not sure what this little 3-pin prong fork is. A little fork for your puddings or something, I'm not sure. But there we go. That's a pretty cool. I'm kind of glad it's not a multi-tool, to be fair, because then I'd have had to include it in the top 15 list. But what a little bonus. And as a final reminder, make sure you drop a comment down below, and that way you'll be entered into the giveaway. There's a whole conversation about tools going on below this video, and I do read all the comments, and I reply to as many as I can as well. So make sure you get involved. And the only other thing you've got to do is, while you're down there, click the subscribe button, make sure you've got that notification bell pressed as well, and that way you'll get a reminder when we release videos. A huge percentage of our viewers aren't subscribed, so if that's you, just check that subscribe button is pressed, because it doesn't cost you anything, it's free, and it'll just mean the videos come up on your homepage, so definitely do that. So before I go, you might remember in the store I said this. There is actually a Gador factory shop in Wuppertal, it's the only one. And it's only open one day of the week. Not today, but I'm hoping we can have a look and see. Well, you're in for a treat, because next week I'll be heading to the Gador factory shop. That's a beast as well, isn't it? Wow, heavy. Yes. Oh, there you go, thing of beauty. They make all the torque wrenches here in Wuppertal, and this is one with a little bit of the gubbins exposed. So thanks very much for watching the video. Thank you, as always, to Metmo for sponsoring the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time.